Okay, so today our topic is about learn leadership from Jack Welch. Uh, uh, Joe Martins, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, sounds good. Uh, okay, uh, today our topic about learn leadership from Jack Welch. At the very beginning of today's program, let's introduce each other, ourselves to our friends and audience. John Martins, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Joe Martins, and I'm from the U.S., northeastern part of the U.S., and I'm a former software engineer, business analyst, writer, and marketer in the tech industry, working with Fortune 500 companies, including IBM, Cisco, Dell, Microsoft, etc.
Okay. And okay, I also introduce myself. My name is Lyu Guo, the chairman of Beijing Suntrans Language Translation Company, and the CEO of New York Suntrans Consulting LLC. I received my first PhD degree in mineralogy, petrology, and mineral deposits from the China University of Geosciences, Beijing, jointly cultivated by Miami University in the United States, government-sponsored, and finished my postdoctoral studies at Peking University. And I previously worked for BHP Billiton, the largest mining company in the world, and worked for the Overseas Mineral Strategy Research Office in China University of Geosciences. I also participated in the compilation and translation of several mining investment guides for different countries and many other books in the fields of mining and geology. I have provided interpretation services for a number of international mining conferences, forums, and entities such as China Mining, the Prospectors and Developers Association of Canada, China Asian Mining Corporation Forum and Exhibition, IRO Forum, Ministry of Land Resources of the People's Republic of China. Now it is called Natural Resources Ministry of China, and also China Geo Survey oversees and training classes for the Ministry of Commerce of the People's Republic of China. And for many foreign leaders and ministers, I have been interviewed or reported by China Central Television, CCTV, the American Broadcasting Company, Uganda Television, NT, New Vision, Daily Monitor, Mirror, and China Natural Resources Ministry, etc. And I also provided geological and mining translation and interpretation services in many countries, such as Canada, United States, Uganda, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Singapore, and also organized a large number of international mining acquisitions. Okay, this is my experience, and okay, I must deal with it. Otherwise, let me deal with it. Click this. Okay. Now, okay, Martins, would you like to introduce your general idea about Jack Welch? Hello, can you hear me?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. So, as many of you know, Jack Welch was a CEO up until about 2000 or so for General Electric, for GE. His successor was Jeff Immelt. And Jack was best known in the 1980s and the 1990s for growing General Electric. And he did that mostly through acquisitions. During that 20-year period, the company acquired quite a bit of other types of entities. But so that's what he's most famous for.
Okay. And more, please.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Also, so with every CEO, you have two parts. You have the positive things that they did with their organization. So with Jack Welch, it was the growth of General Electric for its shareholders. However, you also have the other side, which is when he left the company, GE was enormous, and it lost its focus. It was in too many industries, and it had to figure out how to sell some of those businesses to regain its focus. So Jack had some very good policies, which are in fact mentioned in your PowerPoint deck, and he also had some bad policies that he had done as well. But he is best known for a lot of his management advice, and your PowerPoint deck includes many of different types of advice from Jack Welch.
Okay.
Would you like me to go into any of the, because I can discuss these. So let's see. In the slide deck, let's see, we have in Jack Welch Part 1, which is on slide 7. Well, this is the English slide. If you need the Chinese slide, I think it is slide, let's see, it would be slide 13. So on slide 7, you can see a list here of 23 quotes, or not quotes, but general ideas taken from Jack Welch's management philosophies. And what I will do is just select a couple of them to discuss. So, for example, in number 13, on slide 7, eliminate those who have no passion.
Yes.
In Western business, one of the things that we believe is if you are not passionate about what you do, your productivity, your investment, your personal investment in the outcome will not be optimal.
Yes.
When you are passionate, so for example, if you are an artist and you are passionate about your art, if you are an engineer and you are passionate about your ability to design the best products, the highest quality products, if you are in customer service and you want to deliver the best possible customer service experience, not because you get paid money. That happens as a matter of the fact that you're an employee. You're going to be paid. But you do it because you are passionate about it. You love to make sure that you're delivering the best possible outcome. And that is what Jack Welch means when he's talking about eliminating those who don't have the passion. He's saying, get rid of your employees who aren't true, they don't truly love what they do. If they're in it just for the money, they are in it for the wrong reasons. And that's one of many, sort of Western philosophies about running a company. We can take a different one here. Let's see. Number 18.
Yeah.
Establish an internal school.
Yeah.
Within the many companies, one of the challenges is to make sure that your employees share and learn information that's going to help them do a better job. If you have, for example, a top salesperson, they are really good at what they do. And you have other salespeople that maybe they are average or they are below average. Having an internal school would be the equivalent of saying, hey, let us share the secrets of our top salespeople. What are they doing right? What processes, what thoughts, what sort of actions do they take that makes them a top salesperson? Let's now share that and help the other salespeople learn how to become better at their jobs so that you don't have just a couple good salespeople, but you have an entire department of good salespeople. So an internal school is think of it as a knowledge center where employees can share and learn to become better at their jobs. They can also learn other roles. So, example, an engineer who is just technical and does not understand business is not going to be as effective as an engineer who also understands business. So it is important to cross-train your employees. Expose your engineers to the business, to worrying about cost, to worrying about project timetables.
Yes.
Make sure that your engineers are also good business people. The inverse is also true. Make sure your business people understand the challenges of engineering, the challenges of marketing, the challenges of sales, so that they too can make better decisions, better informed decisions by understanding the needs and challenges of their colleagues within the company. So that is what he means in number 18, establish an internal school.
Oh.
Would you like me to go over any others, or would you like to explain some now
Maybe
in Chinese?
I can just summarize what you are talking in Chinese so that if some people couldn't fully understand what you are talking, I can expand a little bit in Chinese. 刚才呢，John Martins 呢，尤其对 JQ27 的其中有几条做了解释。一条呢就是 eliminate those who have no passion， 就是对团队中没有激情的那些人呢，要及时的去除掉，那要开除那些对工作没有激情的人。那还有一点呢，就强调了，在一个企业中呢，要不断的灌输，一个领导者的他的自己的这种文化，包括这种自信，要让公司中每一个人都深入的了解企业的文化。其中还要提到了，就是在一个组织当中一定要建立内部学校，这样才能让大家共同去学习提升。So I have explained what you mentioned just ago. So would you like to talk about other part, like 22nd, number 22?
22, digital makes the company more flexible.
Okay.
Yes. So one of the areas of expertise for me for more than 15 years was information management, specifically digital information management. The idea that by taking your paper documentation, your contracts, your forms, your marketing documents, sales documents, engineering documents, all the departmental documentation, and putting it in a digital form, it has several advantages. One is information sharing. You can make a central repository where employees can easily access the latest information about anything they need in the company. You can also secure access so that only the people who should have access to that information can see it. An example, marketing may have only access to marketing and engineering documentation, maybe not to CEO email, conversations that the executives have. However, the company executives may have access to everything. And you can accomplish this easily through the digital access to that information. Also, you can now query that information to begin using statistics to look at your data in a new way, in a way that may not be intuitive to the average employee for the company. For example, you may have digital marketing data and sales data that tells you what your ideal customer looks like. Maybe your ideal customer is 18 to 24-year-old men, and income $40,000 to $50,000, and they drive German cars. This might be data that is revealed to you more easily by querying digital data than trying to look at a bunch of paper documentation, which usually is filed away in cabinets and never seen. When a company, when companies used to print, right? They printed paper all the time. Then they would put it in a file cabinet. And nobody, unless you needed it, you wouldn't go look for it. And if you needed it, you definitely would not pull out 50,000 files to look at them, because that would take weeks. So in a digital form, you have many advantages. You have now better data analysis. You have better data protection. You have better data sharing throughout the company. And there are many more advantages, but Jack Welch was talking about by converting your paper data to digital data, you become more flexible. In China, maybe, I don't know, in America, we had decades of paper that never became digital, ever. And it will probably never become digital because there's too much cost to scan it and create digital files. However, about 20 years ago, the U.S. decided, the corporations decided to put what we call born digital. The information doesn't even exist in paper form. Many things in U.S. companies now only exists in digital form. But we believe it makes companies more flexible as long as you protect your data. Because 9/11, when the World Trade Centers were destroyed, companies in those towers never backed up their data, never protected their data at another location in the U.S. So when those buildings were destroyed, so was the data for those companies. And when that occurred, those companies were destroyed forever. Many of the companies in the World Trade Center went out of business that day. So, digital is good. Digital is flexible, but you must protect your digital data so that you always have access and you never lose all your data.
Yes, it's extremely important for any company or organization. And maybe I firstly explain a little bit about 22. And you can prepare 11 once again.
Sure.
Substitutions are ambiguous, and the use of people don't from. And firstly, some part I explain in Chinese. And if our audience or friends are interested in our conversation, please forward that to other WeChat groups or let people know our dialogue today. And what's more, if you are interested in that and think we have a good job, we have done a good job, please also give us tips. On the left down side, there is one word, 赏. You can give tips. Okay, I explain 22 in Chinese, and you prepare 11s. Okay. 刚才我们已经讲到了第22条，就是一定要是企业的所有的这些行为要数据化，并且数据化呢会使得这个企业变得更加灵活。实际上我们就有两个杰克马 and 这个 Welch 这两个人呢，两个杰克他都实际提到了共同的一点。马云呢提到说是一定要把企业中的所有的行为都要数据化，同时要把所有数据化的东西进一步要服务化。那么这是他给我们每一个经营企业的人所提的一些建议。另外刚才我在这儿提到2点。今天呢我跟John Martins 两个人一起来做这个节目。那么大家如果觉得对你的朋友或者是English lovers 英语爱好者如果你觉得我们讲的有用的话，你可以分享给你的朋友，分享只要点右上角的那3个点就可以分享到你的朋友圈，或者是发到你的朋友的那些群里，微信群中。这是我们刚才讲的22条，并且如果你觉得我们确实讲得好，也可以打赏，就是点左下角那儿有一个赏字，就可以来鼓励我们做更多的分享。这是感谢大家做这些分享和以及打赏。Okay, now let's invite our speaker John Martins to explain 11th. Substitutions are ambiguous and the use of people don't from. Why did Jack Welch say this? Please, are you?
Well, I don't know.
Please.
Is that a direct quote? I'm not familiar with his quote on substitution, but what I believe is being said here is when you have a pool of talent of people within the company that have certain skills.
Okay.
One of the important things to do with your people is to make sure that you don't. Do you know the English expression, all of your eggs in one basket?
Yes, I know. Yeah.
Okay, so it means if let's say one person unfortunately dies, or that person is unavailable. Maybe they have medical condition. Maybe they have a need to leave their job.
Okay.
You want to make sure that within your talent pool, you have backup plan. That other people are available to be able to take that role, take that place. So, for example, if I was the head of marketing in IBM, and tomorrow I get in an accident, and I am going to be in the hospital for weeks.
Okay.
You need a person that is prepared to be able to take my place within the company, not because the company is cold-hearted,
okay,
but because the company is realistic. Someone needs to take the responsibilities,
Okay.
even though, I am unavailable. If I become available later, maybe I, recover, I get better, I return to work. Now, the individual that was in my role can go back to the role that they served previously. One of the phrases that we use in English is succession planning. Who is going to succeed you? Who is going to take your place when you're no longer, with the company or no longer in that role? And so that statement from Jack Welch I believe, is about being prepared to recognize that you have a need to substitute, other people into a role when the person in that role is not available.
Okay.
Hopefully
your understanding. Maybe I can also
my understanding.
Tell you my. I read the books regarding Jack Welch, several books maybe at least. My understanding is that here Jack Welch emphasizes if you think somebody is not proper, you should quickly make a decision and let him quit the job or and don't stay in the office anymore. That is, substitutions are unambiguous. He mentioned several times, don't be a hesitant person. If you have, if you think it's okay, just use it, and don't doubt him too much. That is, the use of people doesn't from. If you think he is good, just give all of resources, give him power, authority, let him to do everything. You support the talented people. This is my understanding. That is.
Okay, so that's maybe it's because the way it was written.
Yeah.
Because I did not write the number 11, but what you're talking about is essential. That is, in a company, you cannot hesitate. If an employee is not meeting a level of expectation, then you can, perhaps you can discuss and find out, if is there an issue? Why are you not meeting this expectation? However, you don't want to have this discussion repeatedly.
Yes.
Same person making the same mistake time and time again. And as a manager, recognize, okay, I must make a change.
Yes.
This person had opportunity, but they repeatedly fail. I must find a replacement. And absolutely essential. Some managers, they want to be your friend. And in Western companies, we say that's not a good idea. Managers cannot also be your best friend.
Yes.
If you try to do that, it will make your job as a manager much more difficult.
Yeah.
Because it is very difficult to fire your friend.
Yes, yes, exactly. Without feeling, if you recruit a lot of relatives or classmates into your company, most likely it's not easy to get rid of them if they are not proper.
Absolutely. So much more difficult that some people in some companies, you say, hey, who is that person? And they say, oh, that's the owner's nephew. And you say, he doesn't do anything. And you say, yes, we know this, but the owner doesn't want to get rid of his nephew. So it's so important to separate and say, I'm not going to be mean to you, but I cannot be your best friend. I am your manager. And very important. In Western companies, this is absolutely the way that they must they run.
Okay. And I think it's right. I explain a little bit to our audience in Chinese, and you can prepare number 3, maybe number 3 also. You can prepare a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
OK， 刚才我跟他讲了一点观点。那我一开始我们俩观点不一致，后来取得了一致的观点，就是第11条这儿我们讲到，对每一个领导来讲。你在做决策的时候呢，你一定要防止这 hesitation， 你不能总是感觉到犹犹豫豫的。如果犹豫总是存在你的内心中，你是开除一个人，还是不开除，总是不好做决策，那这个人就可能比较麻烦。较多时候，那杰克贝尔奇就强调，如果要换掉一个人，一定要心要慈，刀要快。跟咱们新东方俞敏洪也很多次演讲中，强调这一点是如出一辙的，就是我们。换人不含糊，觉着不合适立马换掉，这是一点。另外一点呢 ，the use of people doesn't from， 那这儿跟咱们中文说的是用人不疑，疑人不用是意思是一致的，就是如果使用了这个人，你就不要皱眉，不要觉得又怀疑过多，这是第11条。感谢刚才也有人在这儿留言了，互动了，就是你如果我们觉得我们讲的好的地方，欢迎大家打赏。在点下面左下角那个赏字。另外，如果觉得这个也今天的这个报告呢有帮助，也可以转分享你的朋友圈，感谢大家做分享。Now let's move to number 3. For senior talents, as long as they think it's worthwhile to pay, never stingy. So, Martins, would you like to tell us your explanation and your understanding about the sentence by Jacob Welch?
Well, yes, and in fact, I will explain, and I can give you a real example.
Okay, please.
So in when you're trying to run a company, you want the best possible people, whether it's the best marketing, best sales, best customer service. Some companies are not willing to pay for top talent.
Right.
And the managers will complain. Oh, we have terrible people. It's like, well, you did not want to pay for the good people. You cannot be stingy. Good people cost more. They just cost more. Now, I will say, however, not every high-priced person is good.
Right.
Just because an engineer interviews with your company, or let's say translation, a translator interviews with your company, and he asks for a lot of money.
Right.
That does not necessarily mean he's good. You will be the judge. As manager, as owner, you judge, is he good? If he is good, then perhaps he is worth that money. If you're unwilling to pay for good talent, we have a saying in English, you get what you pay for.
Right.
Meaning, if you pay little, small salary, you're going to get less, a less experienced individual. Yes. I will give you a real example.
Yeah. Please.
I knew a woman who worked as a top salesperson for a bank. Mm-hmm. And she did so well. She sold so many home financing loans that her salary with commission, with sales commission, was higher than the president of the bank. The president of the bank, a man, was a little bit his ego. He let his ego get in the way.
Okay.
Instead of saying, this woman is doing an amazing job, and she deserves this money because her success is the bank's success. Her success is my success as president of the bank. But he did not think this way. He was stingy. he told her, I am not willing to pay you more than I pay myself. And he lost her. She left the bank because he was only willing to pay 30% of what she was being paid. And she said, no, my talent is much higher, and I can make good money for any bank. She left. She quit. He never again found a person who could sell at the level she could sell. The bank's sales dropped by $41 million.
Wow.
Because he did not want to pay her $250,000. Ask yourself, was it worth it being stingy? I would say no. So always be willing to look at the value that person brings to your company.
Right.
Even if it means they make more than you, because their performance makes the company performance, it benefits the entire company as a whole, not just the individual. And that is why it's important to recognize good talent and be willing to pay for it.
Right. Good. So a qualified leader, that means never stingy. If you think as long as these talents are excellent, we should pay enough and let him work for us
and support it.
Yeah.
And be supportive. Be supportive.
Right.
You know, if that person's performance is if they prove themselves, if you hire them and you paid extra, you paid more, and they prove themselves, and at the end of the year, you say, wow, you know, our sales went up 20%, or my quality of my translations went up, 30%. Then it could mean more customer, more revenue, better social media opinion of your company,
right?
More clients, and so it's so important to be willing to pay for top talent. Absolutely. It's in Western companies, the ones that are stingy, they will eventually fail. And I don't mean go out of business. Failure can also mean your revenue is 20% of what it could be.
Right.
Failure comes in many forms. And the top performing companies recognize and pay, like Google, Microsoft. They pay for top talent.
Okay, I agree with you. Here, you can prepare number 14. Set goals that you can jump up to. And let me explain number 3 in Chinese to summarize your explanation. Is it okay? Okay. Number 14, you prepare that item. Okay. 刚才John Martins 呢，尤其讲了第3条，这就是对这些高级人才，你作为一个领导，如果你认为他确实值得的，那么你就这时候丝毫不要吝啬，要把他挖到你的公司来一起共同工作。那就是对优秀人才绝不吝啬，这是要想拥有超凡的这种领导力，你在这个财富上一定要舍得，你才能得到这么优秀的人才。Okay, number 14. Set goals that you can jump up to. So how to set proper goals? John Martins, please give us your explanation.
Think of it this way. You have sometimes if you set a goal that is too ambitious, you need to break it into achievable, smaller goals, right? If you do not, many things happen. One is motivation among employees. If your goal is difficult to reach, it is not, meaning a attainable goal, or it takes too long. Let's say your primary goal will take 18 months. Well, you want to break that now into smaller, achievable goals. Maybe, okay, what can we do in the first month? And when we reach that goal, what can we do in the next 30 days? One example, maybe you identify a new market for your product, and you know that you need to maybe perform analysis. So maybe your first goal is let us perform analysis and see what our targets should be for this new market. Maybe now that you have analysis, your second goal is to set your marketing team to begin creating its marketing material. Maybe set your engineers or your what we like to call your front line employees. It's your employees that are customer facing, or your employees that are instrumental to the function of your company. Basically giving them their orders. This is what you need them to do. So you have your, let's call it your primary goal, your overall goal for the company or for your department or for your team. But then you break that into smaller, achievable goals that can be achieved in a relatively manageable time frame. Maybe this is a goal for today.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a goal for this morning. Maybe my goal, even think of it this way. Yeah. Even on a personal level, you should manage your day in the same way. Yeah. This morning, I will answer my emails. This afternoon, I will make 10 customer calls to talk to potential new customers. That's a goal. Yes, exactly. It may not be the sales goal for the company, but it is your personal achievable goal that you can jump to.
Yes.
So that number 14 is basically saying set smaller, achievable goals. And when you achieve that goal, then move on to your next goal. And all of those goals lead to your main goal, your goal for your department or your company or even, your personal, maybe it's your career goal.
Yeah.
So that's what
Jack Welch mentioned several times that because I read his whole several books, he mentioned several times we must be excited about small progress, even very small progress. We must be excited and celebrate our progress.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's important to motivation.
Yeah.
Right. Here's an example with my personal life. When I had too much weight and I decided I am going to lose weight, my overall goal was to lose 24 kilograms. That's enormous. But I don't want to be unhappy in my journey.
Right.
So I say each month I must lose at least 1 kilogram.
Yeah.
And that is a goal I can jump to. That is a goal that at the end of the month, when I lose 1 kilogram, I can feel good about myself, proud of myself. And now, the next month, I will do it again. And last year, in 8 months, I lost 24 kilograms by doing small goals that I can jump to.
Yeah. So I also think that set a goals. That means sometimes if the goal is too easy to realize, it's also not good. If do you think so?
Yeah, yes. I mean, imagine if your goal was, I will get out of bed this morning.
It's not really.
Of course you will, right? Of course. And when you get out of bed, you're not going to celebrate, right? You're not going to, I got out of bed. Awesome. I'm so good. No, they can't be too simple, but don't try to, there's an English expression, don't try to boil the ocean.
Right.
It's too big. That is too big a goal. Boil the water in the pot on your stove. That's easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, you don't want goals too easy, and you don't want goals that are too elaborate or too that will take too long to realize, because motivation, keeping your motivation, your team's motivation, your personal motivation high is very important.
Yes, that's to say we cannot go extremes. Just set goals properly, like you can jump up to achieve it. Okay, maybe I can explain a little bit in Chinese, and you can prepare number 15, act before change. Is it okay?
Sure.
OK， 刚才 John Martins 呢就在这儿做了一些解释。John Goes 那我也做了一点我的回应。杰克韦尔奇呢，他谈到什么样的目标是好目标呢？与跳一跳够得着的目标是好目标。你这个目标既不能 too simple and easy to achieve， 如果太简单、太容易去实现这个目标的话，你可能也没有成就感，也没有很大的 motivation， 没有很大动力。另外呢，有很多人呢。A lot of people are very ambitious. 有很多人呢是很有雄心壮志，但是这个目标如果过度远大，以至于他够不着的时候 ，he may feel stressful and forceful and frustrated. 那么在这种情况下，他就很容易感觉到这种要么抑郁呀，要么郁闷，要么感觉到压力太大，要么受挫感很强。所以杰克韦尔奇在强调，我们如果想要设定好的目标，这意味着我们就要有这种意识，去设定的挑一挑够得着，经过努力能够实现的，这才是好目标。Okay, now let's move to number 15. Act before change. Okay.
Can you, when you read Jack Welch's books, when you wrote Act Before Change, what did you mean?
My understanding is that we must have a prediction. If something may change, you must find out some phenomena, and in advance you can make a preparation for the change.
Okay. So
that is a preparation. Don't feel you are forced to do it. That is, no matter our energy, our goals, how to set them, we cannot say, oh, we are forced to do this. We have to do it. Before something happen, we have a prediction, and we can take measures to indicate to deal with it. And act positively to deal with it, instead of waiting for the things or the issues happen or some troubles come to look for us. We must do it positively, actively, to take some actions. This is my understanding. Act before change.
Yes, so the preparation leading up to decision making, right? Yes. You will hear some Western companies executives, they have what they like to say is gut instinct. And unfortunately, gut instinct is not a way to run a company. Meaning, to just say, I feel we should do this, is in modern corporation is insufficient, right? We should do some analysis, do some, maybe it's statistical, maybe involves, customer data, market data,
Yes.
Competitive data, and look at asking the right questions. Maybe because some companies, when they're preparing, they don't even know which questions to ask in preparation to make a decision. So it's understanding which questions you should ask, which data you should analyze,
Yes.
getting the results, and then using it to make what we say is an informed decision, an educated decision.
Yes.
Yes, it's extremely important. You can't. There's an old expression. It's from cowboys in America. We say, "Don't shoot from the hip."
Yes.
Because
exactly.
in the old days, cowboys would pull their gun out of the holster and they would shoot without aiming first.
Yeah.
And in modern day business, you want to aim your company more precisely in a direction. And you can only do this if you prepare properly beforehand. Yes, absolutely. So that is act before change.
Okay. Act before change. I can also take an example happening in China. In the past a couple of months, all of China, even the whole world, have witnessed the damage of the COVID-19. That is the novel coronavirus disease.
Yes.
So that a lot of people cannot to teach face-to-face, to meet each other. Schools and some hospitals, some organizations, restaurants, shopping malls are all closed. So how to survive, how to make a living, how to teach students. This is a terrible change is happening. So at the very beginning, some people have noticed and predict the terrible future. So including myself and our training class online, we have tried to apply for some platform to teach students online instead of always face to face. If we can do it to teach students face on face, no problem. Conversational English, or to tell other people what can provide services, what kind of services we can do, and we just prepare. And before the situation, the novel coronavirus disease become worse and worse, we must take action to prevent us, to stop our losses become worse and worse. So we must do something online. This is to take act as quickly as possible, immediately to do it, as long as we predict something may happen. This is act before change.
And there's one thing I would like to add. So there's two parts. There's preparation.
Yes.
And ability to adapt.
Yes.
So everyone, there's a famous sort of you in English you'll hear people say plans can change, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So preparation, you make your initial plan, but with the understanding that something along the way may happen, and when it does, and the plan did not predict it, because sometimes, no matter how good you are, the plan will not predict every possible scenario. So the company should be able to adapt quickly. And I will give you an example. Companies that operate in areas where natural disaster is common, tsunami, hurricane, tornado, companies that operate there they must consider, okay, we don't know when a disaster will hit, but we know that eventually a disaster will hit.
Yes.
When it does, we don't know which of our facilities will be destroyed. But no matter which facility is destroyed, we will adapt. We will find a new place for our employees to work, maybe from home. The employees maybe use laptop so that they have access to company data and can work from home. This is a combination of preparation and when the disaster hits, the adaptability to just say, okay, tomorrow, all employees, you will be working from home with your laptops.
Yeah.
And that's it. They not only were they prepared, because let's say every employee has a laptop.
Yes.
Every employee has internet access at home. But when disaster hits, within 24 hours, the company is back in operation. That is preparedness plus adaptability.
Okay. I agree with you. And you now, I guess, as you prepare number 23, that every brain take part in company affairs, maybe about brainstorms. I explain about act before change. Is it okay? Yeah, 23. You prepare 23. Yeah. About act before change, we can say it happens. A lot of people, for us, if you are a leader, you must recognize management leadership. That means prediction. As long as you know something may happen, please get ready in advance, even take action. 那我刚才我跟John Martins 呢都共同在分享了 act before change， 就在事物发生变化之前就采取行动。那么这指的是我们不能等到事情已经很糟糕了，我们再采取行动，或者被动的等着这个命运被别人安排。我们要提前掌控我们的人生，掌握组织的行为。这是正如我们很多年以前那本书非常畅销书，大约20年前有一本书叫做《谁动了我的奶酪》，那是4只老鼠。有些人呢就被迫的在那儿等待命运的安排践踏，而有些老鼠呢就是提前在我的脑袋cheese 那在被别人拿走之前，那我可以动谁的奶酪，我可以采取什么行动。那么这是当时也跟这个威尔奇的说法呢是如出一辙的，就是做管理，作为一个优秀的领导者，那你就是要可能预测3年、5年、10年、20年可能要发生的事儿。那么这是我们必须要做的。同时我在对前面有一条也做一点解释。前面讲了就是设定的目标，就是目标太远大了，你够不着，有挫折感；目标太小了，你可能没感觉。所以踮踮脚够得着的目标是好目标的。那么这是14和15，我就做了一点补充。Okay, now let's move to 23. Let everyone, every brain take part in company affairs. John Martins, please tell us your understanding to the sentence by Jack Welch.
Well, there's multiple important parts to this. I wouldn't agree to force anyone, but definitely encourage. People perform their best when they feel like their voice is really heard. They don't, nobody likes to be put, what we say in English, we say to be put on the spot.
Yeah.
Meaning, if I said to you right now, what is your opinion of, world politics? You may not want to answer this, right? You don't like, it's like, Joe, why did you ask me this question? I'm not prepared to answer this question. I would need to think about it first. So when you want people to give their opinion about maybe ideas about the company, ideas about new products, ideas about new customers. You don't want to force their opinion, and you don't want to put them on the spot, but you do want to encourage. And the way that you do this is important. Some companies will say, we have an open door policy, meaning any employee can go to their manager, their company CEO, and they can voice an opinion. But when companies say we have an open door policy, they oftentimes in the West don't mean it. It's not true. Meaning, if you go to your CEO and you say, I don't like the way that we currently run our sales department. It's causing issues with our customers. Now, in a true open door policy, your CEO would consider this information and say, thank you for sharing your opinion. I will consider it. In reality, some CEOs, some managers, they will retaliate with the employee and maybe fire them or maybe not give them a good promotion.
Yes.
So on one hand, it is important to say, share your opinions, share your ideas, because the more ideas we have, the better the company can be prepared to come up with new solutions, new approaches, better approaches to what we do today. But when that employee comes with ideas that you disagree with, if you punish them, no employees will ever want to give you ideas, ever, because they will be afraid that they will be punished if their idea disagrees with your ideas. So encourage everyone, but I would add to Jack Welch's advice, don't punish them when their ideas disagree with the way that you see the company.
Exactly.
Because, yes, they will never tell you ever. The other employees will say, oh, Joe got fired when he gave his opinion. I'm not going to give my opinion. And so now you've created a culture where no one will share ideas. And that is the opposite of your goal. So be encouraging. Don't be punitive. Don't punish.
Right. It's extremely important for a leader. We think if we are a wise leader, should ask our colleagues to discuss some questions together. A wise person not only employ colleagues to work with their hands, but also with their brain, and ask them to contribute their wisdom instead of make decision by ourselves. Sometimes we need a discussion before we make some very important decision, and so the discussion, brainstorming is very important. Okay.
And especially, if I may add one quick thing, especially if you have a team that is made up of people with different expertise.
Yeah.
In the past, let's say a person who is a great mathematician, but he is not a great physicist, or he's not a great geologist. That person is going to think of the world the way that a mathematician sees the world.
Okay.
By having a team where each member of the team has a different perspective, the solution will be a more appropriate solution, because it will consider the problem from more than just one perspective.
Okay. Yes, I agree with you.
Super important.
Yeah, it's extremely important. And maybe next one you can pitch. Next page is attitude is everything. Number 11. Jack Welch part 2. You can prepare this one. Is it okay?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Attitude is everything. I explain some about the former one in Chinese. 刚才我们俩都讲了这个 brainstorming， 就是杰克韦尔奇呢在这特别强调的就是一个优秀的领导呢，一定要有意识让团队中的人参与到这些管理当中，共同讨论，重视头脑风暴这种管理形式。就是一个管理者、一个组织者、一个老板，他未必总是很智慧聪明的获得各种信息，做出智慧的决策。那么在做决策，最后做决策当然你少数的领导者应该做的事儿，但是前期的讨论对很多重大的事情是有必要的，并且在讨论过程中不要别人提出不同的意见立马就打压下去，要允许百家争鸣、百花齐放，在一个团队中允许不同的声音存在，这样会横看成岭侧成峰，更加清晰地认识真相，做出更加智慧的决策。这是一个领导者要学会挖掘员工或者组织团队中的这种 wisdom 这种智慧，这是杰克韦尔奇在这儿特别强调的。那么next one is part 2, 11. Attitude is everything. So, John Martins, would you like to give us your explanation and your understanding?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, please.
Well, think of everything you face in life, whether it's personal, career, business. When you are faced with this problem, you can choose how you see this problem. So, for example, if you are in the translation industry, if a new technology comes along, you can maybe look at it like, oh, this is going to kill my industry. Maybe you have a very negative attitude, and you refuse to look at this from an objective point of view. And so we say it colors your attitude. It colors your perception, meaning you are biased now in some way because of the way that you see this problem. You can choose to look at it in a more positive way.
Yeah.
Maybe you look at this new technology and you say, hey, how can I complement my current business with this technology? How can I enhance my business with this technology?
Yes.
Your attitude toward a market change, toward a technology change, it can mean the difference between being productive or being depressed. It can mean the difference between success and failure. And you can see this in certain industries where when the internet, you remember, we're old enough to remember the life before the internet, when newspapers were all printed on paper.
Yes.
And so I helped newspaper companies for many years. When the internet finally, in the U.S., the internet started in 1991. The public internet, not private internet. Public internet was launched in the U.S. in 1991. And every newspaper in America thought, oh, wow, what's going to happen if everybody can get their information online, they won't need to buy our newspapers. We are going to die. Our companies are going to die. And this was untrue. This was not true. They just had a very negative attitude about the internet.
We must keep optimistic.
Yes. In fact, the best newspapers were the ones that said, wait, we are in the content business.
Right.
We provide valuable content to the people. The internet is nothing more than a new tool. We will now print our papers, but we will also publish online. And once they began to figure out how do we publish?
Yes.
When do we publish? Then they realized that this positive attitude toward the internet could be used advantageously. And now, today, more than 20 years, almost, it's 30 years. 30 years later, the newspapers are still in business, the big newspapers. They are still in business, and you can buy your news or read your news online or on paper. So attitude, if you have a negative attitude about everything, and if you surround yourself with people who have negative attitudes, it is going to destroy your business. It's going to destroy your relationships.
Right.
Even within this happens not just at work, but at home.
Right.
Positive attitude attracts positive people. And positive people, they will think nothing is impossible. Nothing.
Right.
In fact, if you tell them something is impossible, now they want to show you it's not impossible because they have the right attitude. So attitude is absolutely everything.
Yes. Attitude is almost everything. Okay.
Every part of your life. Every part.
Yes. And maybe you can prepare another one that is number 17. That is about leadership. From monitors, inspectors, out of care and approved to provide a convenience, proponent, and business operation partner. 17. Can you see it?
Yeah, I see 17.
Yeah, you prepare this item, and let me explain number 11. Just go, I mentioned, we both of us are talking about attitude is everything. Some people seems very capable, but if his attitude is not good enough and not very positive, active, maybe he will also miss some opportunities. And so in a company, when we are checking one person, and maybe we can set KPI, key performance index, and must check his attitude. If his attitude is okay, usually a lot of things will be okay. Otherwise, maybe not good enough. 刚才我们俩都讨论了这一点，就是态度决定一切。这个是咱们很常规的，不管是李宁的那一个nothing is impossible 也好，有几个公司的有几个 slogan， 它都是非常相似的，都共同提到态度决定一切，并且我在这儿也讲我们刚才都讲到，一定是积极的、乐观的这种态度呢，会让很多事情都好事情呢都会发生。如果是很消极的、很悲观的，那这个人通常情况下是做不成事儿的。所以对我们每一个人来讲，时刻都要意识到attitude is everything， 并且我在上次也谈到，要把就阿里巴巴马云呢，他强调要把考核价值观、考核态度，要把这些虚的要变成实的，就是他公司里头对他们的核心的这些企业价值观都有给打分，甚至与绩效挂钩的。那么这对咱们学习 leadership 的时候呢，也要意识到我们所有的工作都要对员工的考察呢，不仅仅是考察他的实际的专业能力，而且要考察他的态度，他是不是热爱这份工作，是否有激情，passion attitude， 这是杰克韦尔奇呢在很多时候多次都提到的。Let's move to number 17. From monitors, inspectors, out of care and approver to provider. This is for leadership. Provide a convenience, proponent and business operation partner. John Martins, please give us your understanding.
Well, can you explain? Because this is it doesn't look like a quote from Jack. What was it that you had read?
Okay.
That
let me tell you my understanding. I read his book, and he's mentioned as a manager or leader, you shouldn't act as a police. Like you need to grasp some thief. You should be a supporter. You should give his suggestions, provide a convenience, and help your subordinates instead of always, oh, I am leader.
Yes.
I order you must do something. I monitor you, inspector you must do something. I approve you. Actually, as a leader, you must easy going, easy coming, and help people, provide services, provide support to your colleagues instead of always feel very bossy or you must do blah blah blah. It's not good leadership. This is my understanding. Can you take some example? Yeah.
So the word that we use, which unfortunately for some companies they use this word, but they don't mean this word. They don't take it seriously, and the word is empowerment.
Yes.
When you empower your employees, you give them the self-authority, the ability to make good decisions, which, by the way, earlier we said hire the best people.
Yes.
When you hire the best people, you have to trust that they will make good decisions. So instead of micromanaging, which is what you were talking about a moment ago, you can do this, you can't do that, you need my permission for this. That is micromanagement, is what we call it. And if you do this, especially if you do this with top talent, they will be very resentful because you hired them because they're good at what they do. They do not want to be treated like children. They see themselves as peers, colleagues, not a child that needs to have his manager, his parent, tell him what he can and cannot do.
Right.
So when a good manager will hire the best people, but then give them the freedom and the power to do their job. And when you say provide convenience,
yes,
the way that I look at this is you take obstacles out of their path. If let's say there are certain processes within the company that are very unnecessary. They are cumbersome processes that make your employees' jobs so much more difficult without adding good value. A good manager will get rid of those processes, eliminate them, because it's an obstacle to your employee being able to be effective and efficient and productive. So it is extremely important as a manager that once you have good talent, you give them the power to act on their own. They have your, we would say they have your blessing, right? Yeah. You have given them your blessing, and then support them. Make sure that they do not have obstacles in their path that will make it difficult or impossible for them to achieve their goals, just the company's goals. So yes, that's exactly. Extremely important for effective management.
Yeah, and let me explain this part to our audience, and you can prepare number 21. That employees discover and see the meaning of their work and its implementation mechanism.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Let me explain the former part, 17. From monitors, inspectors out of care and approved to provide convenience proponent and business operation partner. 刚才我们对这第17条呢做了一些解释，就是都共同认为，杰克韦尔奇这句是非常关键的。你作为一个领导领袖， 你不能总是就像一个监督者，只是一个监督者、检查者，或者是个批准者，你实际上你要做一个转换，就是要把这种变成一个提供方便者，一个支持者，一个合作者，一个生意合作伙伴。就是作为老板，你不能飞扬跋扈的，只是高高在上，趾高气扬，而是要转变身份，你是为大家来提供服务的。就像我们的中国共产党还说，为人民服务。那么我们作为一个管理者，都要有这种服务意识，转换身份角色，而不是总是把自己捧得很高。这是杰克韦尔奇呢强调的这一点。Okay, now let's move to 21. Let employees discover and see the meaning of their work and its implementation mechanism. Okay, John Martins, please explain your understanding.
Okay. When I was working in General Dynamics and Lockheed Martin, those are two enormous defense industry companies in America. When I worked there, one of the important goals of management was to show you how your work affects the outcome for the company. Oftentimes, executives will they will have conversation with each other, but not really share the meaning with the employees, not really share the goals, the outcomes. We call it a black box.
Black box.
You can't, yes, like an airplane black box. You can't. There's information inside, but employee cannot see it, and that makes it difficult for you to understand how you affect the company. My job when I worked for Lockheed General Dynamics was a software engineer. And I created software that helped train the submarine, the Navy, to operate the submarines and specifically the missiles systems on these submarines. That's very critical software. So the managers want you to understand, Joe, the software you design is used to do X, Y, and Z. And it is extremely important because if your software fails, people die. If your software is inaccurate, people can die.
Yes.
We want you to know that you are important to the success of the company, to the success of the product, to the success of our customer. And it's through that information sharing from the management to the employee that helps the employee have a different perspective of why they do what they do. Because sometimes employees don't even understand. If you said, why do you do this? They cannot tell you. If you go into McDonald's and you ask an employee, why do you do this procedure?
Yes.
they cannot tell you why that procedure is good for the company.
Yes.
Why that procedure is safe for customers.
Must make
safe
an explanation.
For employees.
Yeah.
Yes. And that is a failure of management to explain why, so that employee takes it seriously. So that employee can have pride, be proud of what they do and the impact it has on the company.
Yeah.
And so that is why it is very important to explain to employees the meaning of the work they do and what happens. The work that they do affects the company in this way, in this very positive or potentially very negative way. And it's extremely, we call it transparency. And it is important within the company to have a certain amount, not 100% transparency. That is almost impossible within a company. Certain things you do need to keep only within management. But to have a higher degree of transparency with employees so they can understand the impact they have, positive or negative, on your company and on the customers.
Okay, that's good. And maybe you can prepare a number. Some sentences are same as we have mentioned, and you can which one do you want to talk? You can choose one. Maybe.
Which? Prepare which?
Let me select one. Number.
One of the ones that I like is about formalism.
Okay, formalism. Yes. You can prepare, and let me explain. Just go. You mentioned, and formalism.
Sure,
you can
sure.
prepare maybe 1 minute.刚才我们一起就是尤其讨论了这个let employees discover and see the meaning of their work and its implementation mechanism。这儿就强调，就是作为一个领导者，一定要有意识，让自己的员工发现并且深度的明白他们工作的意义，以及这个实施的这种机理究竟怎么能把这项工作做好。一个是为什么要做，一个是如何做好。这是作为管理者要有这种意识的。在具体工作中，每一个工作为什么要做这个环节？做了之后对整个公司、对社会、对客户有什么意义？咱们作为管理者，要有这种沟通意识。Okay, just go. John Martin, please tell us your formalism. You just mentioned.
Okay, so this is
number
part
5,
one,
maybe
number 20.
Number 20. Number 20.
Number 20.
Number 20. Good ideas come from all sides?
No, on part one.
Part one.
It's the number 20, shoot all the formalism for officialese.
Oh, yeah. There are several. No matter part 2, in part 2, fifth, bureaucracy often goes hand in hand with formalism.
Oh, yes.
Looking for people
yeah.
with team motivation. Yeah, they're the same.
Yeah, formalism, to me, and there's actually a very famous book, by the way. If you want to read an excellent book written by two of the most well-known marketing people in America, it is called The Power of Simplicity, and it's by Rees and Trout. Those are the two authors.
I can remind you later. You can also write down the
I will.
title
I will
of
provide.
the words. Yes.
Absolutely. I will provide to the group.
Yeah.
So what they cover in that book is exactly what it's again. They don't like formalism. The reason is when you are trying to communicate your plan, your ideas, your strategy, your tactics, no matter what language, whether it's Chinese or English, if you make your explanations unnecessarily complex, it complicates the communication. The more complicated your explanation, the more formal, the more bureaucratic, the more difficult it is for all of your employees to understand what you're saying. Yes. So we in a company or anywhere, if you're a politician, you are a CEO, you are a parent in a family. You don't want to speak or write in a way that only a small percentage of your family or employees or citizens will understand. Because this means many will not understand what you said.
Yeah.
And so the idea is to keep your language simple. Yes, you learned all these big words. Fantastic. Looks great on an examination. But guess what? It's not great if you use all of these complex words in your communication. When I am helping people to understand English, I use a very different vocabulary than I would when speaking with a native English speaker. Because if I begin to use large, complicated words in simple conversation, many non-English speakers would begin to say, whoa, what did Joe say? Well, he's speaking too quickly. These words are not ordinary words. They're much higher level vocabulary. And at that point, they are now thinking more about the words than about the message. You want your employees to comprehend your message, not to get hung up on, stuck on individual words. So keep your language simple, keep your processes simple, and you will find that it is much easier for your employees from top to bottom, from upper management to front line, for them to understand what you mean, to understand your goals, to understand the mission, of the company, by eliminating bureaucracy and eliminating language that is too formal.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. It's very important. Maybe today we will finish today's conversation about 1 p.m. Is it okay? A couple of minutes later, we will finish today's conversation. Our conversation has lasted about one and a half an hour. So,
okay.
About Jack Welch, would you like summarize some ideas to our audience?
Of the ideas that we discussed?
Yeah, about our today's conversation. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
so some of the main themes here was, as a company owner or manager, you should be prepared to, find the best, surround yourself with the best talent that you can afford on your company's budget, right?
Yes.
You if you are not the size of IBM, you cannot afford to maybe pay a software engineer $150,000.
Right.
But if you can afford $50,000 for your software engineer, you should look for the best talent that your $50,000 can provide, right? So, Number one, look for the best talent your money can provide. Once you hire that talent, support them.
Yeah.
Get obstacles out of the way. Make sure that you do not micromanage.
Yeah.
Make sure that you empower them to make decisions, that you encourage them to give you their opinions, and do not punish them when their opinions differ from your own.
Yeah.
That's probably the most powerful of all the things that we spoke about. That is one of the most powerful things you should take away from today's discussion.
that's good. And maybe today we have learned a lot of very important skills or some opinions from Jack Welch together. And for it mentioned, Jack Welch also mentioned some other very famous sentences like strong managers who make tough decisions to cut jobs provide the only true job security in today's world. And also he mentioned confidence, passion, or honesty, very important. So maybe today we can finish our conversation, and next time, tomorrow morning, we will have the conversation once again, and hope our audience can get together to study language and study management and leadership. If you have some good suggestions, leave messages. And what's more, here we also provide some several photos and one WeChat group. You can join into this group. I may ask our colleagues to send the photos into this group. And finally, thank you everyone. Many thanks to our John Martins. Good speech and good sharing ideas. Okay, and
thank you.
Okay, let's say goodbye to our audience.
Bye, everyone, and hope to see you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you for your support. Thank you for your coming. Okay, so much for today. See you next time. Okay. I will finish. I will finish today's